Welcome everyone to part 2 of this video series. I am Hiram and today we will be looking into the installation of Ubuntu. First we'll do some setup work in Windows itself and then we'll move on to the system BIOS where we'll do some further configuration. First up we need to open up the browser and download a couple of files. From the Ubuntu website we need to download the 16.04 LTS version. Under desktop image you see that there are two options, 64-bit and 32-bit. To see which one is right for your computer, you need to first check in your system properties. So press the Windows and X keys together and then press on system to open up the system properties. Over here you see that the system is a 64-bit system. That means we can proceed with the first option. So you can click on this and then the download will begin. Next up we need to download the Universal USB Installer software. This will enable us to make a bootable pen drive which will be used later on in the process. Over here we scroll down and click on the download UUI button. Once both the downloads are complete, you should be seeing these two files in your downloads folder. Next what you need to do is get a USB pen drive that has a minimum size of 8 GB. So this is my pen drive over here. First what we need to do is format it. So we right click on it and click on format. Over here we need to select the file system as NTFS and then make sure that quick format is selected and then press start. Do remember that this would erase all of the data on your pen drive, so make sure that you remove all of the important data from it beforehand. Once that is complete, when we right click on the drive and go to properties, we should see that it's an NTFS drive. Now we can actually create the bootable USB with Ubuntu on it. For that we need to open up the application that we downloaded, agree to the terms and conditions. Here we need to select our distribution as Ubuntu because that's what we'll be dual booting our system with. Under the ISO file we need to select the file that we downloaded just now. And under the drive we need to select the USB drive. Make sure that you actually select your USB drive and not your hard drive because then that will be very problematic. So make sure it's only your USB drive that's being selected over here. And then we can just go ahead and press create. It will just prompt you of all the actions that it's going to perform. You can just press yes. Now that that is complete, we should see this window and then we can press close. When we open the drive, we should see that it's called UUI with the following contents. This means that the bootable drive has been created successfully. The next step is to defragment your drive. This is only required if you have a hard drive instead of an SSD. So if you have an SSD, then this step could be damaging and so just skip this for now. For this we need to open up the disk fragmenter app. You will find your drive listed here. After selecting it, first you need to click the analyze button. This will show, it will scan your drive and show how much of it is actually fragmented. Then when you click the optimize button, that will defragment your drive, and so in the process it will make sure that the minimum space is actually being used by your drive. Once both of this is complete, you can just close the window. These two steps might take a little bit of a while, so make sure it runs until the system prompts that the process is complete. The final step in Windows itself would be to partition your drive. For that we need to open up the disk manager. In your case, your drive should only have one partition, that is the C drive taking up the entire space. Because I have already dual booted my system, I see the other partitions. So if you have only C drive listed here, then that's great. So what you need to do is right click on the drive and then click shrink volume. Over here you need to enter the size according to the table given over here and then press shrink. Once that is complete, you should see a partition of C drive as shown here, but the rest of the space should be shown as unallocated. We do not want to touch this for now and just leave it as it is. Now before we move on to actually partitioning our hard drive, we need to make sure that all of the important data is backed up. Although the chances of something going wrong are very minimal, it's good to keep a backup. For that you need to go to the start menu and type in backup. This will open up the backup settings and from here you can have an external hard drive or SSD where you can back up all of your important data. Once that is done, we can proceed further now. Those are all the steps that will be performed in Windows itself. For the next part, we need to shut down our computer and move into the system BIOS. There's one more thing that we need to do before we can proceed to the BIOS, that is to know the key that has to be pressed to enter the BIOS when your system is booting up. This table over here lists the keys that are usually used by system manufacturers. So now that all the processes are complete, we can proceed to shut down our computer. Once the computer is shut down, we can go ahead and insert our USB drive. After inserting the bootable USB drive, you need to press the power on button. As the system powers up, you need to keep pressing the button which would take you to the BIOS settings. In my case, it's the F10, the function 10 key. Now we are in the BIOS utility. Over here we need to go to storage and then down to boot order. Once we are in boot order, we need to make sure that the under legacy boot sources under that hard drive, and that USB hard drive must be enabled. Select USB, press enter, press up arrow, press enter. Now USB would be booted before the hard drive is booted. This is what we want. Now we have to press F10 to save this setting. Now we can go here in file and save changes and exit. What this will do is it will reboot your system. This time when your system is booting up, you have to continuously press the F9 key. In my case, it's the F9 key. For yours, it might be a different key to enter the boot order settings. Over here, now I have to select my USB drive, which in this case is a SanDisk drive, and then press enter. Over here we see it allows us to boot into Ubuntu. We select the first option and then press enter. Now the Ubuntu that is running off the USB drive is currently loaded. We now have to click on install Ubuntu. So now we see this pop up over here. We have to select our language as English and then press continue. We have to select connect to a network, and if your network is listed over here, then you can connect to it. Otherwise you can select I don't want to connect to Wi-Fi right now and then install the updates later on. In this case my network is not showing up here, so I'll select that option and then press continue. Now we have to check this option because we do want all of the third party, in this case is all of your device, your laptop or PC specific drivers that have to be installed, and we do want them to be installed so that we can get working with Ubuntu as soon as it installs. So we need to check this box over here and then press continue. Press yes. So now in this window we need to select something else for our installation because we want to be able to choose on our own the partition sizes for the different directories. So we click on something else and then press continue. So now we can see that the green bar over here is the space taken up by Windows and the gray area is the empty space that we can use for Ubuntu. So we need to create a few partitions over here. So in this free space that's located over here, we need to press the plus button. Over here, this is a logical partition at the beginning of this space. And again, we leave it as ext type. But what we need to do over here is we change the mount point and then make it slash. That means this would be a root partition. Now the space being allotted to this partition, we want to change it to 20 GB say. So now 20 GB would be allotted to the root partition. This is where all of the core Ubuntu files would be installed. So that's 20,000 MB right now. So now you press OK. Now in this next free space that exists, we now need to press plus button again, and now we need to choose a partition that is going to be of the type swap area, and the size of this would be equal to double the size of the RAM in your system. So this swap area would function as virtual RAM. In my case, because I have 8 GB of RAM, this thing would need to be 16 GB. That will be 16,000 MB over here. For your system, do the appropriate calculation and enter the correct size, and then press OK. Once that is complete, the remaining free space, now again we press plus over here, and then this now would be our main partition, our home partition, in which all of our files would actually be installed. So then we can still leave it as a logical type, but over here we need to select the mount point as /home, and the size would be the maximum amount that is available. All of this free space, in this case over here around 173 GB, would be allocated to our home partition. Now we press OK. So now before going forward, we can cross check over here again. We have our Windows partition, and then we have our root area, then we have some area for our swap, and then we have finally have the area where all of our Ubuntu files would be located. So please do cross check this setting once before you move forward. Now once this is selected properly, then you can press install now. Now over here it will show you all of the changes that would be made, and you can just press continue. Now your time zone has to be selected. In my case it would be India. Press continue, and then your keyboard. In most cases it would just be the English keyboard, and then continue again. Over here you need to provide the details. So in my case I've given my details that are required. You can fill this according to your needs. Just do remember that you put in a password that you can remember and would not forget. And then require my password to log in, and you do not need to encrypt your home folder because there would be a lot of changes being made to it later on. So leave that unchecked, and then you can press continue. So now it will take a few minutes to do the entire installation process, and then once it finishes, you will be able to see in the progress bar that it's done. So as we can see now, the installation is complete. But do remember that once you press restart, you will need to remove the pen drive once the system has shut down completely. So you wait for it to shut down, and then you have to remove the pen drive, and then you have to go into your boot menu again. So now we press restart now. So now we have to select our SATA 2, that's our hard drive, as a boot drive, and then we press enter. As we can see, we have the grub interface that has come up over here, but Ubuntu is the first option. So what we need to do is select whether we want to select Windows or whether we want to select Ubuntu, and then press enter. So in this case we want to get into Ubuntu, so we select Ubuntu and then press enter. But before we do that, we do need to change our boot order back to normal, so we would go back and do that first. So while the system was booting up, if we keep pressing the key to enter the boot menu, the BIOS, in this case it was F10, and now once we get in, we need to go back to our boot order and down to USB hard drive. Press enter to select it, move it down, then press enter again. Now what we have done is we have put our hard drive above our USB drive, which is exactly what we need to do. And now we press F10 to save our changes. Now again to cross check, we see that SATA is above and F10 to save. We go back and then save changes and exit. And then press yes. So now when it is loading back, we don't need to do anything. It will just load onto the hard drive and we should see the grub that has come up right now. Over here, Ubuntu and Windows both are available, and we just need to use the up and down arrow keys and select which OS we need to use. In this case, we want to get into Ubuntu. So we go up to Ubuntu and then press enter. So now as we can see, we have loaded into Ubuntu, and now we have to enter the password that was set before. As you can see, the Ubuntu desktop is now up, and that means that there have been no problems during the dual boot process, and Windows and Ubuntu are now dual booted successfully. And this is the end of the second part in this series. See you next time.